a minute and someone is asking for a form, guys, make sure your judges get those forms in on time. And that should be several days before the contest, if not even earlier. If someone says that they're going to be a judge for you, there's no reason why they're waiting to send that information in. So go ahead and ask for it. Go ahead and make sure that they get it to you. The other thing that we're requesting is that all the briefings take place at least a few days before. Bare minimum 2 days. That gives you time to flesh out any issues you may have. I was on one contest where you had a dignitary, or rather a functionary, that didn't have email. So I was wondering how they got on. But secondly, I was wondering, how are they going to do what they need to do that night? And they literally were talking about texting and things of that sort. Team, let's get people who can actually do the work. And the work requires that you use of your email. You could text your ballot over, but there's information that you're sending out constantly. I'm even getting some of your emails. And why would you want someone that's so critical on the day of your contest not to be able to assist you? Finally, remember that, well, not finally, qualifying times. Remember that you definitely have to have the people there to, excuse me, let me back that up. You definitely need to have the contest in order to have qualifying times. We know this, we say this, but we're always asked the same question over and over again. Does a person have to go? If it's only one person, yes. We also need someone that's there looking to make sure that they have originality. So we ask that you have judges, preferably at least 2. But even if you have just one person, a couple of judges, and you have to have that timer so they can time for the contest. Target speakers. You have to have a separate target speaker for each area contest if you're having them together. So that being said, your area contests are meant to be separate, totally separate. 2 programs, 2 target speakers. All your judges, I mean, if you want the judge to sit there, if they want to sit there the full time span, that's fine. You can have the same judges, but obviously they're going to have to sit there through 2 different contests. So just make sure that you have everything set separately. And also remember to announce your winners. You shouldn't be waiting to the end to announce the winners of all of them. The timer settings. This came up because we really prefer that you have someone that knows how to use their virtual backgrounds. And I don't know if all of you are aware, but if you watch my background, there are several options you do have for Toastmasters. So you can have the one that starts off with this or blue and changes to green, changes to yellow, and to red. Now, honestly, this is the one I prefer. I prefer this because I can see it easier. I'm getting older. Man, I'm in my 50s, don't care about much but my sight. I care about my sight. And when you're using some of the other things, like a lot of people say, oh, I've got a red cup. You see how that kind of goes in and out? Let's not have them doing that at your contest. You can get these on Toastmasters.com. We can email these to you if any of you have a desire or a need for them. But again, it's just easier if you have these backgrounds that show up. Another option that you have is there's one that actually has the light, the timing light. So you have your starts, then you have your green, your yellow light, and your red. And all I'm doing is pulling up my virtual background. Let's see if I can pull this over here. Can you all see that? Give me a thumbs up, Roxanne, if you can see it. Not too sure if Zoom allows it. Excellent. So I just pull up my virtual backgrounds, and while I'm in here, I don't come out. I can click on these to change from color to color. So I've got my timing device up and I'm just changing my colors as I go. Or if I decide to use the ones with the background, I can click on them as well. Therefore, that being said, this is a little bit different from before. When we do our training, let's go ahead and take some time to really train our timers. Anybody that has anything to do with technology, your tech master that's going to be bringing people in and out of rooms, those people need to be trained on how to use Zoom. And if they say, oh, I know how to do that, say, well, can we see it? Make sure they show it to you. They're going to have to show you during the actual event anyway. Might as well have them show it up front. And I jumped ahead. Sorry, I'm looking at a separate screen. Next up, I kind of went into this before I changed. No one said a thing.
There was one comment, Nicolette, from Kathy New Miller talking about the backgrounds not working for everyone.
So that's another reason why you want to test it when you're doing your briefing.
You have to have a newer computer, basically. There is, okay. Zoom has certain
limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had some where things are moving. It's a little bit more difficult. Like right now, the video ones aren't working for me, but the ones that actually change the colors do. So again, when you're selecting your functionaries, ask them that question. Almost everyone has been on a Zoom. There's really no reason why we would bring someone to do the job that can't actually do it fully. And you don't want your contestants to have to suffer because someone is not sure. The other thing I definitely wanted to bring up for timing is make sure they leave it up the entire time, which is why doing this is a lot harder. Well, first of all, you can't even see it. So now I'm playing with it, trying to get you to see that it's yellow. And then you got to sit there and hold it until the minute goes by. That's a little bit harder on your timer. So try to find someone that actually has the ability to use the virtual backgrounds on their computer. And that day, everyone's sitting at a computer. So if your timer gets on and they're saying, I can't change my backgrounds, ask your SAA if they can do it and switch them out. But let's try to keep the integrity of the virtual contest there. And I think really the only way to do that is to make sure that your contestants can see the timers. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show, and hopefully you all can see that. Roxanne, again, can you see my screen?
Yeah, it says, let's talk about the process.
Actually, no. Okay, so you can't see this. A lot of times with Zoom or these types of things, what I did was I put up my Zoom window. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was pinning. But I actually have a slide for it. I wanted to show you. But the timer, let's try to get someone that can actually use the Zoom capabilities. Now that we've been doing this for a year almost, we should be able to find someone that can actually change their background or that has a timing light one for you so that everyone can see it. Now, when it comes to the breakout rooms, you're going to need someone that's designated to handle it. As you know, in the evaluation contest, they're going to have to go to the breakout room for 5 minutes and they're going to be writing. You're going to need an SAA in there to watch them. Then when 5 minutes is up, they need to look up and look at their camera. They shouldn't be looking down at anything the whole time. So I know it's boring and I know it's not going to be fun for them to do that, but that's the only way that we can make sure they're not still scribing and taking advantage of no one being able to see them since we can't take their papers. Is that pretty clear as to why we want to do that?
We're also asking the contestants to turn their paper over so that they don't even have an option to look down at the paper.
I'm sorry, Nicolette. I'm sorry. Can you restate that? Thanks.
So you're going to have a tech master or SA, someone that's going to be managing your breakout rooms. With the evaluation contest, after the person speaks, someone is going to move an SAA and your evaluators, your contestants, to a separate breakout room. They're going to have 5 minutes in that breakout room to write down their notes. Then they need to turn their paper over and look at the camera. The hope is that we'll be able to make sure that no one is continuing writing down notes, that they're actually paying attention to the camera, right? And then that way, when it's time for them to come into the actual main room to do the portion of the contest, then whoever's manning that, your tech master or your SAA, will actually bring them back into the main room. So they won't have to do it themselves. That person will bring them back.
Thank
Is that a
you.
little bit clearer, Erica? Okay.
And they can use their notes when they come back into the main room.
So I have a question on that. So if it's the SAA or the tech master, how will they know if, is that based on, let's say you have 3 evaluators and they each go on a, 1, 2, and 3. So how will they know when it's time for them to, to go and do their evaluation? So the first person goes and then there's 2 evaluators in the room. How would they know if it's time for them to be let into the main room? You mentioned it's either the SAA or the tech master. Would they get like a notification, or how is that communicated that, hey, we're ready for evaluator number 2?
I saw you shake your head, Roxanne. I thought you were going to grab it. So, yes, they will get notifications, but it's not really the same SAA. So we're saying you should really have 2 SAAs and a tech master, someone that's manning all of the breakout rooms and stuff and sending people, because not only are you sending those contestants over for the evaluation portion, you also have the portion where the chief judge goes over with the ballot counters. So you're going to need someone that's manning that for you. And then you have someone sitting in that room with them to make sure that everything is on the up and up, that they're not looking at their notes when they shouldn't be. So you're probably going to need more than one. And in this contest, that's probably, I mean, a lot more than what we've had in the others, right? Because we're not really worried about the rooms per se. The chief judge says we're done and everybody comes back. But in this instance, it's one at a time based on their order.
Okay.
So yes.
But she's asking how do you know about the second person? The first person will be 5 minutes. How do you know when it's time to call the second person
Right.
back?
Right.
Someone is in the other room and they're paying attention to they say their evaluation, that's over, we go get the next person. So they can say it's time for this person to come. And it's my understanding that in the breakout rooms, you can go and bring someone back. Is that right, Roxanne?
You can either bring them back or you can have somebody set up, you can have your one SAA set up or the tech master as the host, and they can send a message into the waiting room
Okay.
saying it is time for the next contestant.
Okay, gotcha. All right, makes sense.
You can send a message into the breakout room, right? Not the waiting room.
Yeah, the breakout room.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, yes, I'm at the breakout room.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
for that.
okay.
Vanessa.
Are the
Thank you.
evaluators that are sitting in waiting, are they expected to sit in silence?
Yes. Kind of like you would. Normally you're in another room and you're sitting silently. You're not in there. Well, any of the contests I've done, you're silent. No one's in there talking about anything.
Okay, thank you.
Can you, this is first time I'm doing this area contest. Last time we had a humorous contest with another area director. So since I was new, you took care of most of it. So I'm trying to understand the whole process. So if you can walk through quickly, where it starts and how it progresses and ends, if that is not okay. For you. No?
When you're saying walk through the
steps, right?
entire,
Yes, yeah.
so for the evaluation contest, so an
Yeah,
evaluation contest,
Mhm.
all the contests are the same, whether they're area, district, or whatever, they're all ran the same. Well, the differences are judges, the number of judges you may have and things of that sort.
Mhm.
But, basically you're going to have your contest master that's going to start it off. They're going to talk about the speaking area. They're going to tell you the pecking order. In other words, how many people, actually, you know what? This probably isn't the best time. How about staying on the call after this and we can talk through it? Because this is to
Okay.
kind of go back over and we really,
Sure.
there's a manual and we can pull that up as well and kind of go through that. But instead of taking the time out of this call, let's do that. Because I want to go a little bit more deeper than what I was just thinking in my head.
Sure.
Hi, Nicolette. This is Mallishwari, Area Director of H82, and my contest is coming up on 27th this Saturday. I've been following up since January for functionary roles to be filled from the deck meeting invite, all the distribution list, and from the trained judges. It is extremely difficult to get any volunteers to fill up the roles, and I have I have been struggling on filling up a couple of more roles. None of them are saying available. So how do we go about that? And for me also, this is first time that I'm doing the area contest.
So you're saying at the deck meeting, you've just kind of set it out. All I can say is what I did in the past, and we did a lot of trade-offs. So first of all, in our division, there's 7 of us at the division I was in. There were 7 area directors. And so by having all of us going to each other's, that helped a great deal. In some cases, we literally had one in the morning, one in the evening, and we made it an all-day affair so that we had enough people or functionaries. But if you're saying you already went through all the lists and you've already checked your own club and you've talked to your fellow area directors and none of them have said that they can assist.
They said that they can, I have 4 other area directors, and they 3 of them said yes for assisting. That's why I still have a couple of more roles, because there are many roles to be filled up. So I am at 50% roles filled up and 50% not. So I'm completely lost on where, because if the roles are not filled up, I will not be able to send the eligibility criteria to those people that are needed and all that. So I can stay back after the meeting to talk to you on the same. That's why I'm saying I do not want to consume your time from agenda.
Okay, and the other one is your own, all those clubs that have people coming. We asked them for functionaries as well. because there's always the ballot counters and people like that, they can fill those roles, but we'll talk afterwards as well.
Okay.
Let's move on to pinning. So are all of you, did you all understand how to change your name? And the reason this comes up is it's a lot easier to pick out who the timer is if they change their name. So if you're looking at me right now, when I hover over my, my image, and I can't show you because when I put this on the main screen, it doesn't show it, but it's really here. When I hover over an image, you'll see these 3 dots that come out. When the 3 dots come out, I can choose that and then click on rename. And I can put other information on my name. So I can make mine Nicolette-Speaker. So with your timers, you may want to have them change their names to timer. With your contestants, you may say, you know, put contestant behind your name. We've had some where the contestants will stay on screen so they show up at the top. If you notice, usually those people who are showing their face or their video will show up at the top, and those who are just their names normally will not. The other thing is the timer. The one that's really critical is the timer. And so by doing this and renaming yourself, or as a timer if you're the timer. And then the other thing is by pinning the video, and you can see how on this one, I went to Roxanne and I clicked on the ... and went on the pin video. When I do that, Roxanne's video is going to be the one that shows up at the top. And if I weren't showing my screen, then you would see her big and everyone else would be smaller. So that's how you get your speaker, the main person there. And you can tell your speaker to pin the timer so that they can see the timer. Now, when I spotlight, it's for everyone. I want to remove that pin. So when you pin it, it's for yourself. It moves that video to the top. If there's nothing on screen, it'll make it big and everyone else will be smaller and they can be at the top or on the right, depending on your settings. If we do a spotlight, then that video is the one that's big for everyone and your pin one is still going to be the first one at the top. Do we need to play with that? Are you guys understanding? I see some hands raised. Kathy?
Could you repeat? Sorry.
That was from before, never mind.
Okay.
Nicolette, could you repeat how you remove the pin, please?
When you click on the same dots, it's in the same place and you're going to click on remove pin. So when you click on the 3 dots, you can pin someone. Like I just moved Kathy to the top for me, and then I can remove that pin as well.
Okay.
Vanessa, how about you?
Yeah, can we just test that spotlight? Because in my experience, if the speaker pins somebody and then they get spotlighted, they can lose that pin. And I just want to double check and see if that really happens. Okay,
so did you have someone pinned?
No, but I can. All right, I'm going to pin. Well, see, I'll pin Roxanne. But see, I don't know. Mine's all messed up anyway.
So when you pin someone, they're going to be big for you. So you have Roxanne pinned, but I have Lakshmi pinned. So he's big on my screen. Now I'm going to spotlight for everyone. Oh, wait a minute. Not myself. Let's do that. Well,
I thought I was my video was off.
it's not.
But if you spotlight me as the speaker, it's
going to remove all of the other pins.
That's what I want to test.
Yeah, for
So
some
the
reason.
Spotlight,
So when I
feature is new to the Zoom, or because I don't have Spotlight feature, is it for the upgraded Zoom or?
Is that something that only the host has? But you guys will be the host during that time because it's your contest. So when I spotlighted Kanti, she's the one that's big on everybody's screen now.
Right, but I lost my pin, is the point. So if you spotlight me and I've got the timer pinned, who is Roxanne in my case, then I lose
You're gonna lose your
Roxanne.
pin.
So if they're
So
spotlighted, can they not repin the speaker once they're spotlighted?
Let me see something here.
know.
Okay, so let's try that. I'm gonna spotlight Lakshmi for everybody. Now try to pin someone. I can't do it because I've got my spotlight on.
This is
I
Erica.
can't-
I can't do it.
I can't pin anybody because I've got Roxanne pinned and I don't even know where she is.
Okay.
Unless I do gallery view, then I can unpin her.
I have
This-
Lakshmi in my full view.
Yeah, you lose the pin feature. I can't pin anybody. I can only chat.
Okay.
So that's why I don't
So,
think,
so now we know that we can't, you're not gonna be able to do that. You're not gonna be able to do a spotlight and a pin. So if you want them to pin the timer, then the speaker can't be pinned. But I do know that if everybody is off of the video and everybody's on mute, then whoever has their video on is who you will see at the top. That's the first, those videos are at the top, right? Anybody that's not on video, they move to the bottom.
It's a bit cumbersome, but I know that on the host they can spotlight more than one person. So the host can spotlight the timer and the speaker. Because I've done that on the club level before.
Okay,
You can
like
have
this.
You can have multiple spotlights.
Thank you for that.
Unfortunately, I'm watching on my cell phone versus my computer, so I'm
No,
a
I
little
just-
bit limited. Mhm.
Thank you for that, Tanisha. I just did that. And so everyone sees now I spotlighted Roxanne, and then I went back in and I clicked on the little dot on Kanti's, and I added a spotlight. And that made her my second one. So they're right, though. Unfortunately, you have to be the host to do that. So when you're the host, which is a really good reason why when you're having a briefing, you can play around with this stuff. You can make sure that your timer, you can see their background, all of those people that you're briefing for the contest. So we at least all know how to pin, we all know how to spotlight. It's the same menu. You're just gonna have more menu options if you're a host. So I'm gonna share my screen again. All right, so that was pinning and changing the name. So have your timer at least change their name. Some of you, I went to your other contest and you had your speakers change their name as well, which actually was pretty cool if you're following along and you want to know who the speakers are so you can remember. Sometimes I like to just judge even though I'm not judging. I'll have a little slip out and I can tell who's who, but it's kind of nice to know who the speakers were. So those are options for you, but just remember those 3 dots by the video or on a person's video are very, very important. So a lot of stuff that you can do there. All right, next up. We are now into during the contest. So we've had our briefings. We've gone over with our judges how to go in and out of breakout rooms, or we're going to talk about those anyway a little bit later. But you know, in your briefings, you had your briefings. Everybody knows that the timer can actually change their background. So we're not going to be running around with cups and envelopes and teddy bears for colors. And now we're talking about during the contest. So this time around, please make sure you look at how you do your introductions. We had some that didn't quite introduce their contestants right. I'm trying to move this thing. I can't move it. These controls are a lot of fun. So the thing with this is the contest master, when they're introducing, make sure that they say the name, the title of the speech, and the name. Remember, no commentary, nothing that could sway a judge. No introductions at that time. And then when it comes to the evaluation time, obviously there's no title. So it's just the name and you'll say it spaced out twice. Everyone help me welcome Nicolette Gordon. Nicolette Gordon, and then you clap. Now, when I was a contest master, we practiced on how to do that so that people would know I was gonna say the name, the title, the name, and then they clap. And so I would say Bugs Bunny, running from Elmer, Bugs Bunny, and then everybody would clap. So we practice and it's kind of fun. It gets people into it. But the bottom line is them not to clap in between, not to mess it up, because you're giving that person time to kind of woosah and say, okay, it's my turn to come on. We talked about the fact that we need the virtual background, can't be said enough. And we talked about the fact of displaying the colors for timing during the contest. Now let's talk about casting ballots. This is a fun one. Now what we need is the actual bottom of the ballot that before we had like an email that we would send But now what we want is for you all to send in the actual ballot. We've been told that that's the way it has to be done. So one of the things that you're going to have in your packet, most of you have probably already been to the site. It's d44toastmasters.org. Surely you've been there. But there is the contest toolkit in here. And if you go to the bottom, you'll be able to see this information here. It has your any and everything that you would need. I am going to pull up a judge's ballot for, let's say, the International Speech Contest. And I apologize. Normally I would have pulled this up already. So let me pull this up here. This is the portion that we're going to need from you. And I'm going to make this bigger so that I can be pretty clear. Now, there are a couple ways that you can get this to me. As you can see, this is a fillable PDF. So you can put your first contestant here, and then you can go down and put in their numbers. And I'm just tabbing. I can put my second contestant and I tab, and it's going to take me through all the way down. Unfortunately, it does not add this up, so you have to add it yourself. Quick tip. If you count the number of points missed, it's usually less than the numbers that are there. You know, this is 100 points. If you took off 2 here, that's 2, 1, 2, right? That's 5. Then this is a 95. It's an easy way to get to the final score. But after you finish, you're filling out this information below. We're going to need you to put your first place, second, third, because as you know, there are points there. I actually have this set up in my Adobe where I can put in my signature, right? If you don't have yours set up that way, then you're going to type your signature here, but type it here as well. Because as you know, if this isn't filled out all the way, then it's not valid. Okay. So this is what we're looking to see. Your signature is going to be here. Let me go ahead and click on this and do it.
Nicolette, this is Yolande. If you
Good.
don't have Adobe set up, you cannot type in that box. I tried.
So I've actually done a signature. It allows me to draw my signature in there when I didn't have Adobe on my laptop.
You were able to draw in this box. Hold on, let me see what it does here. Karen is here.
Yeah,
Okay,
Stephanie
so
says
let me
you can
actually put a
use
signature.
Exodio. I'm not sure how to say that, but
At the very end of the day, can you go old school, print it out, fill it in, take a picture and send it?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can do that. But the one thing that I wanted to show, and I'm trying to think. 'cause
Hi.
Nicolette, if you click on the
Okay,
pen
I'm
on
in the
right,
training.
you should be able to sign. You see the signature is on the right column. There are 3 icons. The one in the middle is sign. It should pop up whatever you've already filled in. So now at the top is right there. If you click, now that you click that, it's available right on top. On top.
Right
Yes,
here.
click on that, and that should be able. You should be able to add your signature then. Yes.
Okay. I have mine and I just. Well, there, we all learned something new. Mine is actually in there, but I don't know my PIN, which is why I didn't bother to do it. So, okay, click here. The sign will pop up at the top. Click on it here, and then you can click the add in order to add your signature. Did everybody see that? So you don't have to print it old school. So now when it comes to getting this off, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can do an alt print screen and crop it, which I'm not too sure if everybody knows how to do. But you also have the capability of doing a snipping tool, which is one of the Windows features. So if you go into your Windows, you go to your start button on your computer. If you were to start typing snipping, then this will pop up as one of the things, or you can look under your programs, accessories, and bring up the snipping tool. Once you're here, you're going to get this little plus sign. If I take it and I drag it, it's going to give me this image. This is what I just snipped. And then I can tune this via email from my computer. It pulls up an email here. Send it to myself. And then when it comes in, it comes in like this. So this is how you're going to send your ballot to the chief judge. Or this is how you're going to teach your judges to send their ballot to the chief judge. Again, I mean, you could use someone that doesn't have this capability, but they have it printed out and they're going to write it out for you and take a picture with their phone. But if you're using people that do have this capability while you're doing your training of your briefing for the judges, I would show them how this works. I mean, it's really simple, and especially now that someone showed me that other trick. Again, you're just tabbing and filling in information. You're adding it up like you normally would. You come down here, you fill this information out, click on the purple sign. And what I'll do is I'll put these instructions in the actual training so that you'll have that in the material. And then once this is done, you're going to go to your little start window. You can start typing snipping if you want, and it'll search for you. It'll be the first program that comes up. And unfortunately, I'm not showing you that screen, so you can't see it. When the snipping tool comes up, it has a plus. See the plus symbol? You just click on it and drag and make a box around what you want to snip, and it creates an image of it. And then in the snipping tool, you can click here to send it. I can actually copy it and paste it onto an email. So this time I copied it. Where is that email that I just sent? And I can reply all here. She keeps bringing it back down to this computer. I've got two up, guys. I can paste that here. I did a Control V, or I could do a right click and choose paste. And then I could email it. So there's a couple ways that you can do that as far as getting it out of the snipping tool. You can use the email feature. You could save it to your computer and go search for it. It'll take you a little bit longer, or you can copy it and paste it in your email. Some of you probably have used this a lot more than I have, the snipping tool. Are there any questions with that?
If your judges
Just make sure that they have.
Sorry, I was just gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
if the judges cannot use the snipping tool, then they can submit the whole ballot, but they need to submit a whole ballot without the scores at the top. So they need to have two ballots where one has the scores and then one where they just fill out the bottom part, because we do not need to know what their scores were. That should stay anonymous with the judge.
This is the part that the judge normally keeps. And so she's saying, make sure this is clear if they want to just send you the document. If they don't feel comfortable cutting and pasting it into an email, they could just email you this document, but it needs to be one where the numbers up here are gone. Just this is filled in with the two signature here and the typing, or typed in both places. Are there any questions about that? All right, guys.
So this is for judges and for the ballot counters. The ballot counters have to be judges, undergoing judge training, or anyone can be a ballot counter?
Oh, anyone can be a ballot counter. They don't have to go through the judge's training.
Thank you.
All right,
Nicolette, may I make a comment?
please.
So we get a lot of complaints about the PDF and how to edit, and I can't edit. But somebody put a link, Smitha put a link in the chat. It says smallpdf.com edit PDF, and I tried it and it's very easy. I didn't have to download anything. So that's a handy tool for us to have to share. I just wanted to point out that was very easy to use.
Okay, I don't know that one. I'm not gonna go over it. I'm not too sure.
No,
what
I'm just
Adobe
saying
download.
that people who are in the
Oh, they
chat can
don't.
make a
You're
comment.
saying they
on it.
don't have Adobe. They don't have it on their computer. They don't have Adobe on their computer. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they don't have Adobe, and
Okay.
it becomes a big problem. But this one, you don't have to have Adobe. It looks like you only need to have a web browser and you can do everything.
Yeah, it's very easy. Most of the times I've used it and it's not very quick. We don't need to have Adobe.
Okay. So when you're training, if you have that, and can someone put that link, or you already put it in the chat for this?
Yeah, I already put it in the chat.
Okay, great. All right, so during the contest, some of the contests last time it's some minutes between, and I know that some of them went probably a little bit longer. Evidently there were some people that were waiting a couple of minutes, but it's usually a minute of silence between contestants. And then at the end, you're gonna have continuous silence. So there's nothing else going on while the chief judge is waiting on the judges to let them know that they're finished. And when they all go to their breakout room, then you could do maybe an intermission. You could play some music. This will be a good time for people to kind of stretch and then come back and do your interviews, and then do that. Or, but basically you don't have to fill up all that time. Just make sure that the time where the judges are trying to fill out their ballots is quiet, not a lot of chatter, not a lot of things going on in the meeting or in the contest. Now, when you're doing the contestant interviews, the thing to remember here is if you have someone that's doing the evaluation and the international contest, they need to be interviewed after the second one. So if they're in the evaluation contest and then they're going to do the international, you're going to interview them after the international contest, but not for the first one. Just something worth repeating. When it comes to disqualifications, you can say that there was a disqualification, a lot, for time. You can say there's a time disqualification or that there was a disqualification, but you shouldn't announce the name of the contestant that's disqualified.
Now, in case of international and eval contest, do we need to prepare separate agendas and have the evaluation start as a fresh after international is done, or should we have both of them in the same session, one after the other, like Pledge of Allegiance and Toastmasters mission and everything like that?
Well, you're having two separate contests altogether, so it is possible that someone may come to the second that wasn't at the first.
Okay, yeah, okay, but the functionaries will be common for both, so should we have that both in the same agenda, that we have the agenda that we prepare, that call to order and all those?
Generally, you're going to have two agendas, and so yes, you would have the functionaries, not the judges. So if you wanted to recognize the fact that these are your ballot counters or whatever, you could, but you would not put the judge's name on anything.
Yeah, I know that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I see another hand up. Lakshmi, is that you? Okay. Now,
did you say
I thought I saw your hand up. Did you have a question?
No, that was no.
Okay.
No, I did not.
All right, no worries. All right, next we have the certificates. Sometimes people are pulling up their certificates like this. Let's see if I can pull up my PowerPoint. Okay. When you show your PowerPoint this way, doing is it's going to show everybody's information here and everyone will see all of your winners. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that when you present your screen, you're on the presentation mode, like I'm showing you the presentation mode. If you don't have two screens, then obviously it's only going to show on one screen. So you want to make sure that everything is ready to go before then. And you'll have that time when you guys are doing your breakout and you're waiting on the chief judge to come back. You've done your interviews, you have music playing, you told people to go and stretch and come back. That's the time when you get that information for you to fill it in. So as you know, these certificates are on the District 44 website. For your certificate, you can fill out your third place winner. Now this is in Adobe. You can use your snippet tool. Crop this information, copy it, and paste it on here. And you can do that for each one. So then when you start to present, what you'll end up seeing is just the actual winner and not this other information. And I would practice with Snippet. Honestly, guys, this is my first time using the tool. Roxanne mentioned it yesterday, and I said, you know, I never really used Snippet. And when I saw how easy it was, I thought, you know what, this is probably the better tool to use. So again, you would fill it out on your PDF, Snippet, put it into your PowerPoint. You need to click on the page you want to show, put it in the viewing page, right? And hold on. I've got 2 of them running. Did I just lose you guys? I did. It didn't like that at all. But the bottom line is you want to share your screen with whatever it is that you want them to see and not the full PowerPoint, or they're going to be able to see those other pages and know who the winners are. All right, so you should be able to see that now. So was that pretty clear? When you have the documents, I just have all of them pulled up. I have the third, second, and I have them all on the same Adobe, or if you're going to use the other thing that they mentioned, the other software, I would pull them all up. And when I get the information from the chief judge or the contest master gets it, actually, I think it's the area directors and the division directors that are going to say who the winners are. I would just come in here and type who they are. And you could have this filled out beforehand, this area. I would just type whoever they are, and then I would snip these and put it in a PowerPoint. And when it's time to do the announcement, you display the PowerPoint, not the actual application. You want to show it in presentation mode, which is this little button down here at the bottom. You see this little button right here? This is presentation mode. Are there any questions about how to set that up? You don't like that? You do like it?
You can also just do it like you showed it in the tab mode with a PDF. So if you labeled each tab first, second, and third place, then you could just pull up when you're announcing third place, you just pull up that third place one. So you do a save as with the name, and then you could just pull it up from here and not have the PowerPoint, not have to copy and paste.
This actually has a viewer as well. That's a full page viewer. I would play around with it, whatever you're most, I'm kind of really bougie about how my stuff looks, but this is easier for sure. This tab, second tab, third tab, those are my winners. But just take a look at it beforehand and make sure it looks nice and neat, right?
I have a suggestion too for certificates is go ahead and make first, second, and third for everybody. And then all the tech master has to do is hide or delete the ones that don't apply. Because for me, I was a tech master one time and I wasn't that familiar with the names of the contestants. And I was having to type them in. And it was very nerve wracking because I didn't know how to spell their names. I did, you know, there was a lot that I didn't know. So I just prefer that all of the certificates be there and you start in third, second, the whole group, third, the whole group, second, the whole group first. Then you just have to delete them out of your PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm. I've actually done that in person when I had my area contest. I had them all printed out in each position, and then I would just take them out of the folder, the winner for the first, second, and third, and I handed those off to the contest master. But it just depends on who's announcing it. So in essence, you should have someone that's running your contest, and you should be sitting over in the back so that you already know who your contestants are. It's your contest. It'll be kind of easy for you to write those on the certificate, or in this case, type them on the certificate. But those are some great options for you. I think that one of the things that happened in one of the contests is that a PowerPoint came up and first, second, and third were over here, and everybody already knew who the winners were because you could see it. So there's presentation mode. If you're going to use PowerPoint, you can also make that side really small so that it's not legible as well. It's another option. All right, moving on. After the contest. So everything is over, you have your winners. Now, in order for them to move to the next level, so the areas for you, you need to fill out the notification of winners form and send that along with the profiles that you have from all of your winners. And I say that because it's just better than us having to ask them to fill out the same form over and over again. That literally, unless they're changing something, the speech title, or they have other information, they could just have that go along with them. Most people keep the same one all the way through. So the notification of winners form is also on that website that I sent you, or showed you earlier, and we'll be sending it out. And then the winners contestant profile, send that on with it to the next level. So area, send it to division, send it to me and Roxanne, please, so that we have all of that information for the contest. Again, your D44 contest materials, all of this stuff is out there, as well as the contest schedules. I went ahead and put this on the list so that you can see when each other, some of you haven't filled out your contest information yet, I noticed. There's quite a bit that wasn't there. And then finally, hold up. Where did that go? That's weird. I guess I didn't save it. My contest information is out there as well, and I will send that out to you all. Let's see if I have it open. I don't. So I'm sorry, when everything closed, evidently I hadn't saved, Jesus saved, and you should too. I had not saved my PowerPoint. So I had planned on showing you my schedule, but I do not have it up here for you because of that. My PowerPoint crashed on me. But that is all of it. Are there any questions regarding what we went over?
Yes, this is May. I went to the contest calendar. I tried to add my contest, but how do I do that? It doesn't seem to, I'm not sure how to, do I tell somebody or do I add it directly into a Google Sheet?
If it's not allowing you to add it, just ask and I can share it with you.